Welcome to the Writing with Purpose podcast, where I, Anna Woolliscroft, chat with fellow writers and outdoor enthusiasts about how we can embrace creativity and curiosity to live a life full of adventure that doesn't feel like hard work. I delve into exploratory conversations about my two loves in life, writing and nature connection, as part of my mission to share the well-being benefits they both bring. It's wonderful to have you here today. On today's Writing with Purpose podcast, I'm chatting with Una Cottrell about her brand 45 Not Out, Ageism, the beauty of the coast, and writing for a living. Great. So hi Una, welcome to the podcast. It's lovely to have you. We met face to face, didn't we, for the first time last week, even though we've known each other for a couple of years now?
Yeah, that's true. It was at a business meeting, wasn't it? And we're on a few miles down the road, but I think we met up during lockdown. So I suppose really all our communication's been online. So that's probably the reason for it.
Yeah, it's always nice when you meet someone face to face. I know I certainly, I wouldn't say I crave it now, but I realise the importance of having that face to face interaction with people. It's not quite the same online, is it?
No, absolutely not. No.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for being here. I'm looking forward to talking to you. So this podcast is all about having conversations with other people who are in the creative industry, other people who have a love of writing and the great outdoors. So I'm looking forward to chatting to you about this, because you've actually got a very, very creative background, haven't you, in communications, and as a journalist and as a copywriter and a podcaster. A lot of those things are sort of all very different, but all very creative and require writing in some way, shape or form. So I usually ask guests how they stay creative, and what are their creative generating processes and what creativity means for them. And sort of looking back on your career, it's almost as though you've had so many different avenues of creativity. So tell us a little bit about what does creative mean to you, and as has that been sort of part of your career to date?
Well, creativity, like I said, for me, it's mainly written creativity, and really, I think for me, it's a way of sort of noticing things that are going on in society, in the media, and the rest of it. And sort of, I process that. And then what I think I like doing, and this is probably what drives me to sort of produce as much as I do, is I like sort of, right, okay, I've seen this. I think it means this. And I write sort of either a blog piece, an article, a newsletter or whatever, and just put it out to the relevant target audience. And in terms of creativity, I've heard tons of people say this, even Stephen Bartlett, on Dragon's Den. He said he'll get an idea in the shower. And I know exactly what he means. Like, I try not to think about work before I actually come to my desk. But when you work for yourself, that's very hard to do, isn't it? You're always thinking about work. But yeah, it's like more often than not, you just mindlessly having a shower or doing something quite mindlessly, and this very strong idea or something that you've noticed comes into your head, and you think, oh yeah. So then the mad scramble is, can you get close enough to either your phone to take a note or pen and paper or something like that before the idea actually goes away?
Yeah, definitely. Not always wise to use the phone in the shower, though.
No.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant point. Sort of, when you're going around your day doing things mindlessly, you're not overthinking it, are you? And you're not sort of putting pressure on yourself to either solve a problem or think about something that you have to do. It's almost as though, unconsciously that's working in the background, and then it just provides an idea for you. But yeah, they're never at convenient times.
Maybe it's your subconscious that knocks that to the front of your mind as sort of, here's a little idea for you, sort of thing. And usually the fabulous ideas, the ones that can spurn either a blog piece, a series of articles, a podcast episode or whatever.
Yeah, they are, for sure. I draw a lot of inspiration from going outside. I think, the world outside us is full of metaphors. And, whatever, you're right, probably working subconsciously, you spot something outside that's relevant to what you're thinking about, or maybe what you're working on. So yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, people think that creativity is quite often sort of limited. Maybe limited is the wrong word, but only people that work creatively are creative, like an artist or a writer or maybe a dressmaker or you know, that kind of industry. Whereas I think, you know, mathematical people, they are creative as well, because they're solving a problem and they're kind of doing it creatively in a way to get from A to B. So I think yeah, it's sort of everywhere. We just don't spot it quite the same with certain people or certain industries and certain places. You are the founder of 45 Not Out, the brand and the community, so podcast, and you've got a Facebook group and a lot of content around that. So what was your inspiration for launching that?
How long have you got with that? I'll try and sort of put it in a nutshell. It was basically going back to self-employment in my early 50s, after having a spell of self-employment, early 30s, and I had a family break. And as you say, we're both in creative sector, and to me, it sort of went on to the digital and tech company that I was working with. So I was having to re-establish myself and go and network quite a bit, mainly in Manchester, because there is a big digital and creative hub up in Manchester, and I was trying to get established in that community. So I was going to meetings and just going in as I am, an older woman, midlife woman, and it was just the my experience really in sort of chatting to people, and you know, it to be fair, there wasn't many people my age there, because obviously it's a new industry. It attracts a lot of graduates and people at the start of the career. And when this was like 2015, 2016, the digital boom was starting, and sort of they were leaving, getting funding, creating these fabulous businesses that were just rocketing because of where they were at the right time and all the rest of it. And obviously they were like my clients. I was going talking to them, and I think doing what I did, they were expecting somebody quite a bit younger. So I did experience a lot of subtle and sometimes not so subtle ageism.
Yeah.
And it's as though my experience was dismissed quite a lot. I mean, I'm not saying everybody, but that was the thing. That, I mean, luckily there was some more enlightened organisations, shall we say, and I happily got to work with them. But it just, well, and as well, I think one of the big drivers was like I couldn't do anything about it, because obviously I needed to keep people happy and get myself established and gain some clients. So for about 4 or 5 years, I had to bite back this annoyance. And then podcasting came along, and I thought, I wonder if there's a platform there for letting, you know, just broadcasting the experience that I'd had, and whether there's anybody out there experiencing the same as me, because I just thought it was like an older woman in business phenomenon. I was very wrong, because doing the podcast that I did and sort of talking to women and then going out and networking with older women as well, I found that it's across the board. It's not just work, it's in society, it's everywhere, you know, this older woman ageism, and it's obviously endemic in society's values. And that is a long answer to why I started 45 Out. Try and make some changes, no matter how small.
Yeah, and that's how a lot of these things start off, though, isn't it? It's from a personal experience of, oh, that's not quite right, or why has that happened? And then it's a bit of an exploration, really, as to, okay, well, is it just me, or is it happening with other people or to other people? And, you know, let's just see if we can chat to people and find out a little bit more. And that's how these things grow. But then it's also, you know, it's a great resource for people that have been in that sort of situation to realize actually that, you know, that they're not alone. It's not just them. So there's other people to talk to and share those experiences and sort of best practice. How do you overcome it? You know, it's not about you, sort of thing. So yeah, and well, I mean, congratulations for actually, you know, launching it and running with it, and it's been a success. It's celebrating the wins, shall we say?
Yeah. I mean, you start these things. I suppose it's anybody that starts something and like me thinking, I wonder if it's just me, or I wonder if there's other people out there. It's like you carry on doing things, and these people come out of the woodwork and find you, and it just showed me that it is, as I say, it's endemic.
Yeah, it is. So that, starting those things, that leads me on to another question that I usually ask guests is, what's your earliest memory of writing or reading or language, you know, from, and that
I think I can remember telling my teacher when I was in, now you have to bear with me because in my day it was infant 2, so that would be year 1. There you go, that'd be year 1.
Yeah.
I can remember
that would be 5.
Yeah, about 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 5 going on 6. Yeah. That I wanted to be an author, and bless her, she said, "Oh, I can see you being an author," and that stuck with me all these years. And I think I used to use it as a bit of a tool. Even then, I didn't know what I was doing. I can remember one year I was so excited about Christmas. I think I'd known for months what I wanted my present to be, and my parents had told me they'd sent it to Father Christmas, and I was so excited. So I started writing in very childish thingy, all about what Christmas Day would be like. And it really helped. So I think even at such a tender age, I realised the cathartic benefits of writing. And I've found it easy. You know, everybody has an outlet. And everything. For me, it's always either get my computer out and have a tap, 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 you know, just to release a bit of stress, have a bit of anger, release, that kind of thing. Or just pen and paper. Well, yeah.
So you use writing, really, the could we say the tool of writing or the practice of writing as an outlet for quite a few different things there, as well as professionally. You also use it for well-being as well, which is the same as me. You know, I've got my journal, which I do a lot of dream journaling in, gratitude, and then not so much anymore, but I did used to do quite a lot. You know, you mentioned, you know, just getting sort of anger and frustrations and that sort of thing. Now I used to use it a lot for that as well, when there was sort of situations that I didn't quite understand why it was triggering me in a certain way or feeling in a certain way. And you're absolutely right. I think a lot of that for some people does start off very, very, very early. Your Christmas story, you're almost you were creating a vision, weren't you, of what it was going to look like for your future self, unwrapping this Christmas present that you desired. Have you still got it somewhere?
What? Oh no. I can just, I don't know. I can remember no, I won't still have it. No. My parents wouldn't have, well, you know, I've moved a few times since then.
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lovely memory to have, though. What does the great outdoors mean to you? And is there sort of a part of that you know, connecting with nature plays a role in sort of your life, whether it be personally or business?
Yeah. I think if I'm struggling a bit, or quite often in the depths of winter, you know, when you don't see the sun and, you know, you're trapped and can't get out. My happy place is always by the sea, always, 100%. I'm lucky enough to live quite close to the North Wales coast, parts of which are quite unspoilt and quite dramatic in places. I mean, around sort of the Llandudno coast, there's a mountain up there called Great Orme, and you can go up so far in your car, walk the rest, which isn't far, and then you're on the top of this huge, huge hill overlooking the sea.
Yeah.
And you get blown to bits, admittedly, and you're sort of walking on this hill accompanied by goats. But it's, you know, if you want to get away and clear your mind and just get some clarity, that is a place to go.
Yeah.
And it always has been. And in the depths of winter, as I say, we will quite honestly get in the car and zoom off there. And I used to drag my 2 young daughters there, and they really didn't want to go, but we used to go, not always to Llandudno. There's some other places around North Wales. Anglesey is another lovely place.
Yeah, Anglesey is beautiful.
And we'd have a walk by the sea, getting blown to bits. But you know, well, now they wouldn't admit it, the age that they are, but when they were young, they sort of came back and said, I feel better for that, Mummy. So I used to make us all go, and then we'd sort of come back refreshed. And so that not so much forest and things, yes, but you know, the sea really does it for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sounds, isn't there, around the sea as well, and you know, even if you're up at the top, it's on a hill, you kind of looking out into the expansiveness of the sea, and who knows what's beyond there, really. I think it helps you to sort of wonder about things, and whether it's, you know, a darkened wood that people like to go through, or sit on the coast, or climb a hill. You know, there's this sort of, we're drawn to certain things, aren't we? I'm more drawn to woods, but I think that's just because I've got to think about really old trees, and I always wonder, you know, what tales they've got to tell from the different generations that we've seen, and that always seems to spark stories for me. And yeah, you touched on the benefits really of going there, and that kind of fresh thinking and clarity. And you might not feel as though you want to do it before you go there, but then when you're back, you always feel the benefits and feel refreshed. I was talking to someone yesterday actually, and she took herself up to the Lake District and climbed Skiddaw, which I think pronounced that right, which is a big hill there, which is probably almost 3 hours away. And she it wasn't on a backyard or anything, and yeah, it was windy, and she just felt so much better for doing it. So I mean, hats off to people that sort of, you know, just make that decision and go, and then feel good afterwards.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So what's next for you?
Well, I'm looking to develop the 45 and Out brand. Hot off the press this summer. We've not got to publicise this, but I think the end of September we're doing an event in Holmes Chapel for women to sort of come along, and we're getting a speaker, somebody that's quite prominent in Cheshire. I'm actually I've partnered up with somebody on this that has a charity in Cheshire. So I won't say too much just yet, because we're just in the early stages of just finalising it. But yeah, so doing events, writing some ebooks that I'm putting through the 45 Not Out brand, building the community. That's a big driver for me. It's, you know, because obviously I've got my community, but they're sort of now bringing people that they think would benefit. They're bringing them in as well. So the group's growing, and that's great. So really, I'm just trying to sort of turn it probably into a business rather than just a brand, and just grow the group and see where it goes.
Yeah. So for anyone listening who's over the age of 45 and is female, then Una's got the Facebook group where you can join and gather resources and speak to other women, just about anything and everything of being that age. And I know you've written an ebook, haven't you, about sleeping and sleeping habits, and how to get a better night's sleep, because I mean, some people struggle with sleep all their life, but I think when you're starting to go through certain changes and things, you know, you're up and down a lot more. So that's a useful resource for people as well. And so where can people, there's the Facebook group, which will include the links and things in the show notes, but where else can people get in touch with you and connect with you?
Well, I've got my website, unacottrell.com, and then I've got the podcast and a newsletter. But if you find the website, there's links to everything on the website, because I've put a special 45 and Out page on the website, so you can find all the various platforms there.
Brilliant.
Or they could just email me. You know, if you stick me email on the notes, you're welcome to sort of get in touch, and I could have a word and direct them.
People can say hi.
Yes.
Brilliant. So yeah, I've really enjoyed having this chat. Thank you very much. It always seems to go down a slightly different route than planned with questions, but I think that's part and parcel of it. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. It's been lovely to chat to you again.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to today's Writing with Purpose podcast. Having conversations with fellow writers or adventure enthusiasts brings two of my biggest loves in life together, writing and nature connection. I've been a copywriter and content creator for 23 years, but my passion is writing for well-being, and I'm on a mission to share the benefits that putting pen to paper has for personal wellness with as many people as possible. If you want to learn more about writing for your well-being and journaling techniques, please connect with me in my Facebook group, Journaling with Anna.